But we're here, and I'm looking nice and fresh. Looking nice and fresh. Out goes the scruff. You know what it is with the scruff? It's like once you start being able to basically shave with your teeth. You know, you can kind of start chewing your mustache off. Maybe it's time for you to fucking put the razor to your face. You know, and it's kind of like, sometimes I get a little bit thing. I'm like, yeah, you know, it's like I'm in the wilderness. There's a bit of like into the wild thing going on, you know, and it makes you feel kind of like more of a man, even though it's bullshit. That's another bullshit, but it doesn't matter. It has that effect. But then it gets past the point, like I said, you're chewing it. When you're chewing on your mustache, it's time for you to fucking shave. That's just what I did. It wasn't because I knew the camera was coming back on. I didn't know until about half an hour ago. And I said, you know what? It's been a bit of time. Some time has elapsed. And I guess what the whole thing was, I was waiting on chopping up the last episode for you, because the last episode was the fucking Oscars episode, which you're just not gonna get. I'm not sifting through fucking 3 hours, and that was like a litmus test. I was another one on a whim. I'm like, let me turn this fucking camera on. It was a litmus test, okay? But yeah, I said, you know what? We're gonna try this out. We're gonna try this format of just watching something for 3 hours. Not a good format. Not a good format. That's not a good format if I have to edit my shit. We are not in the Desi Gulag era yet. Okay, Desi does not have his own gulag. Desi does not have slave labor. Desi cannot say, hey, for $1, you're gonna fucking do my shit. Shut up. This is what I'm talking about. See, this is what I'm talking about. The dog has now ruined everything. Now it fucking ruined everything. Killed my flow. I shouldn't have responded. I should have been the bigger man, the bigger species here. I should have been the bigger species. I should have said, you know, go ahead, bark up a fucking tree. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? I gotta stay in my zone. And I lost it. Because that was part of the problem with the Oscars thing too, is I'm just reacting to everything. I shouldn't react to everything. I should be like, what is it Bruce Lee said? I gotta be like fucking water. Speaking of which, this is a plug for fucking, you know, I'm not going to show the label until they pay me. You know, this is going to be a good plug. Staying hydrated. I drink right from the gallon, okay? Just right from the gallon. Like I said, I got to be more like water. I got to be more like, you know, I feel like I just need to barrel through reality with being me. You know, because the problem, you take 2 seconds to kind of respond to shit. It's like boxing. It's like, hey, can you counter punch? No, I'm just going to fucking punch. I'm gonna punch and I'm gonna barrel you down. It'll be like Joe Smith. When Joe Smith was fighting, what's his name? Alvarez, later Alvarez. And he just within two minutes, he's on top of the guy. And I'm like, you know, that's kind of dumb. It's kind of a dumb strategy because you're gonna get tired out. And he didn't tire out. He didn't fucking tire out. It was just 9 straight rounds of that, and the guy just what's the word I'm looking for? Capitulated. He fucking capitulated. That's what I'm gonna do. Except the reality is gonna be later Alvarez. I'm gonna be Joe Smith with my fucking construction worker fucking strength. Okay, like they're chopping down trees with an axe. You see, like George Foreman do that. That's why he knocked out Moore when he was 45, because he wasn't in there pushing weights. He was chopping down fucking trees. You know the kind of strength you got by chopping down fucking trees? You got a lot of strength. It's like Paul Bunyan shit. Okay, George Foreman was on his Paul Bunyan shit, and so is my man Joe Smith. And when he took that guy down, and he pressed up on him, and he just said, "You're not going fucking anywhere." Okay, I'm gonna back you into the fucking ropes. You're gonna be staying here all night, and I'm gonna unload. That's gonna be me. That's gonna be the new Dez attitude. It's fuck reactions. I'll give you my reactions to shit, but you're gonna do it on my time. You're gonna be looking at me, and it's gonna be on my watch. And I'm not gonna be sitting there going, and processing as I go. I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go. It's gonna be one speed. Right now, the speed is still 0. You know, I know at a certain point, you're going to be looking at these episodes and say, listen, okay, what is it, 14, 15 at this point? You know, you got to fucking, like, you're still at 0. But I told you my plan. I said, listen, you know, it's not looking good now because I don't think the fucking world, we might make it to 2027. I think it's a pretty good shot. But I think people are underestimating the fucking rat that's coming. Okay? And it can get really fucking bad. Listen, as long as I maintain an internet fucking connection, okay? That's my goal in life. Put me in a fucking homeless shelter. I don't give a shit. Do they have internet there? Who do I gotta fend off during the day? I just gotta stay alive. Okay? I gotta defend this guy off, fend that guy off, run into my little fucking bunker, turn this on, and put my 2 cents in. And we're gonna do 2 cents for the next 5 years. Okay? No viewers for the next 5 years. And then it's gonna be like a fucking chart. It's gonna go and then fucking skyrocket. It's going to skyrocket, but I'll be ready. See, I'll be ready by then. I'll have my chances. Like, we're going to execute. I'm already ready to go. Bring on the opportunities now. You know, put me in the right fucking arena. I am a gladiator for this shit. I am the gladiator of crank. You know how they have like the renegades of funk, you know, or the renegades of funk. I'm a gladiator of crank. It doesn't have the same flow, but you know what? Throw some auto-tune on that shit, and then you have a bestseller. That's how I'm a gladiator of crank. Maybe gladiator, a warrior of crank. We need to come up with a better word. Whatever. Put that on the side. That's our project of the week. Just get back into the hit writing. So we gotta have our New Year's song by. Oh, we have the song. We already have the song by next year. We have the ball drop song. You know, there's a ball. What do we set? What were we gonna set it to though? What was the tune? Because we got the ball going down the pole from the north to the south pole. Oh yeah, no, it's ball going down the pole, ball down the pole. What is it? Stand in Times Square. Fuck. I think I wrote this down too. I gotta find these words because this is a great song. I'm gonna make you wait. The people who aren't listening and watching anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter. You can just edit this out later. Even though I'm allergic to editing at this point, as you can tell by the fact that you're not gonna get the Oscars shit for the next 5 years. Where let me see, ball going down the pole. I think, is it here? I fucking wrote this somewhere. I want to get this song. Okay, so this could be the song, and listen, it'll be lo-fi, whatever. No, we're not. This is not Hollywood, recording technology. Okay, there we go. Here's the song. Ready? We should do it in time too, so that we just throw some music on this. Okay, bum 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 bum. Ball going down the pole. Ball down the pole, watch it right there in Times Square with some guy and his wife up your bum from the North Pole to the South Pole. See the ball go down the pole, ball going down the pole, ball down the pole, and then it repeats. But then you get it. Okay, ball going down the pole, ball down the pole. And you put music behind that. Very simple what's going on. No one's getting there's no, like how if you're writing like a fucking play or like a TV show or a movie, you gotta be start, beginning, and end. What do they say? It's oh, what's the point of tension or what's the conflict or whatever the fuck? It's there's no fucking conflict. The conflict is the ball's gotta get down the pole. Okay, it's gotta go from the top of the pole to the bottom of the pole, and he's gonna get there. Does time go forward? Unless there's a malfunction. Unless who is it? The Waterford. This is the Irish people. Unless you Irish people fucked up. Unless they went out and had a session the night before and they fucked this. The crystal got fucked up and now I got caught on this way going on the pole. Go. Barring that, and then you know what? That's never far from. And not because it's Irish, and not because. But that's always a possibility too. But the snafus are never far now. I just feel like everything's fucking breaking. It would just be a great symbol if next year the ball's going on the fucking pole and it stops going on the pole because something malfunctions in this and they ran out of power and the whole thing is like, hey, we were actually importing more Russian gas than we fucking thought and we cut that shit off so we don't have it and have it. But I'm getting messages now saying shut my AC off in the summer because it's my fucking fault, right? It's my fault that the power grid's going. It's not anybody who's got a fucking factory or some shit like that. And fuck all that. No, it's me. It's my fault. Yeah, it's my fault for not trying to have a fucking heat stroke. Okay, I don't even have an AC. So what are you telling me? I don't. My window can't support the fucking AC. So what are you telling me? Why am I getting the text? Okay, talk to fucking Con Edison or some shit. I don't know. But don't send it to me. But some shit could happen like that. And because, listen, speaking of Times Square, could it be the fucking thousands of fucking ads you have going off in that, in the summertime? Because everyone's not just because everyone's looking at that too. At a certain point, it's yeah, that's more stuff. Is it worth the $3 million that was a Swatch or some one of these fucking companies pays to get that spot? Is it really fucking worth it? And it's not. But they don't even care beyond that certain point because you know who gets rewarded is the person who came up with the idea in that office and listen, we talk to these guys. We got this. We got the ad in Times Square. Does it generate any fucking leads? Does it increase your viewership? No. But you're the guy. You get the reputation in a company. You're like, hey, that was my idea. Oh, you're Times Square guy. Oh, you're Times Square. They really put us on the map. It didn't. It didn't put you on the map. It didn't put you. You just put. It gave you the sense of prestige. It's an icon and now it's iconic. And now we're there. We're in Times Square. This is what the big boys do. But you're not a big boy. You're not a big boy. Or maybe you are. Maybe you are because everything's inflated and this cash is just pumped into everything. And whatever it is in the stock market, it just gets fucking inflated. So it looks like you're a big boy. And then all of a sudden, it's like they're like, hey, too many deserts out there sharing passwords for the Netflix shit. And it's shit that tanks. It's Titanic style. You have Facebook is going through the fucking floor. So is Netflix. And it's one by one. And we're just starting. This is like a economic fucking Armageddon. All this shit coming together at the same time. Now you're telling me Africa's not going to have any fucking wheat wheat because of thing because Ukraine the wheat they're not farming. They're not farming. They're busy. They're busy running into a bomb shelter. Okay, so that's not happening. The Russian gas, all this shit, and then people now everyone's splintering off, and now there's the supply chain shit. This is a meltdown. Okay, and we're just at the tip. We're just at the tip of the iceberg. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, I'm getting squashed one way or another. But like I said, I'm out to maintain. Listen, I got to do a couple things. Okay, keep breathing. Okay, keep drinking water. Keep having some sort of food. All right, you can see I'm losing fucking weight. You know, this is called the oatmeal and instant rice diet. Okay, it's funny enough, if you only like live on fucking oatmeal and like instant rice and not much else, you don't actually, unless you're eating just pounds at a day. You know, you're not actually gaining weight. You know, you have no fat in your diet. You know, you would actually expect, that the food is of a low quality to be high fat and salt and all that shit. I'm go with that. But like I said, I'm just eating oatmeal all the fucking time now. Because you just buy a giant thing of oatmeal and you're good. You throw some jam, you throw whatever it is you want to throw in there. You want to get really fancy schmancy, you throw some fucking coconut milk in there. You get some of that Goya coconut milk and you throw that in and you put a little bit of a vanilla extract. Ooh, now I'm getting fucking fancy schmancy. And then, of course, but it's the vanilla extract you bought once for pancakes like fucking 9 years ago. And it's probably been expired for 5. My entire spice drawer is expired. You know, like how bad is that? Like it might, like I guess it's you know what I'm gonna be like. I'm gonna be like going like how food in general is just fucking trial and error. Because like how else would you know? Like how else would you know to boil pasta or to boil beans? You know how else would you know like okay this is inedible, but if I do this to that, it'll fucking work. You know, and we can eat it. How do you know? People had to die. How do you know which berries are not the poison ones? How do you know which mushrooms are not the poison ones? People have to die for this shit. Okay, so I will be like the modern equivalent. Like we have all the knowledge. Like I have the internet. I can go and search. Is this poison? What's gonna happen to me? Well, what happens if you have allspice or fucking what's it coriander? I don't even know what the fuck you use. Isn't coriander? Isn't that the cilantro? Isn't that the same? One of them is cilantro. Cilantro is the same thing as something else. But whatever. I'm the cumin. All these shits you bought once because you thought you were gonna be fucking Emeril Lagasse because you saw something. You're like, hey, I'm gonna be a fucking chef. Then you realize, oh, there's a reason you cook Easy Mac all the time is because you have no fucking cooking skills whatsoever, right? You boil anything beyond boiling pasta is like I'm out, right? But you go ahead and you throw the spices in there because now, like I said, now you think you're fucking. Who's the other guy who got the Me Too? Mario Batali. You think you're fucking Mario Batali, okay? But you're not gonna have that every day. So you just got this whole thing of like Goya adobo and fucking turmeric. Like who the fuck uses like what do you even do use turmeric? I know it's like used in that's the yellow shit in the curry. How it gets there, I have no clue. Okay, and I have no clue what else you use. I have no idea. I don't even know what it tastes like. What does it taste like? But it's sitting there, and you find one thing and it calls for turmeric. Hey, I do have turmeric. Oh, what's the year on it? Oh, 2014. Oops. Well, am I gonna die if I eat this? I don't know. I think I'm good. I think spices you're okay. Because if you're a bacteria, can you really live in this? I think it's all about like the potency and the taste. Because if you're a bacteria, can you really live in spice? There's no water. You know, like you need like moisture and shit. It's kind of like a vacuum, and it's like spicy and shit. So like you're not gonna I don't know. But like, I will be the great experiment. I will throw all kinds of different spices. Okay, like I said, and vanilla extract. So that was how we got at this whole thing. The vanilla extract. We'll see how bad my stomach melts, and if it does at all, or maybe I'm building up resistance because I'm at this point now. I read something about I'm not even gonna get into that. Fuck that. That's going into a tree. All right, vanilla extract. We'll roll it back to the oatmeal diet. Roll that fucking back too. Where was I going before that? Losing weight. Thing and okay, I'm see this is one problem. See, goes back to what we were saying before. Now I'm being in my own way because I'm trying to find my own thought. I'm just gonna keep barreling forward. What's the next thing? The fight yesterday that I fucking called the biggest I called it of the century. This is in the boxing world. I'm trying to think of a bigger I called it. Like I had the one that comes to mind is fucking Gvozdyk when Gvozdyk beat Adonis Stevenson. I called that shit. Because it gets another, and it's the same exact thing, and it's similar to Usyk Joshua. I didn't call Usyk beating Joshua though. I didn't call. I said it. Look, I said Usyk's way more fucking skilled than Joshua. I said I do think the size is gonna make a difference. Right? But the same thing is going on in 3 of those cases. Okay, these are 3 kind of quote unquote fucking boring because this is what they use. They use this is in America because we're talking about Vegas. Everything has to be big lights. Even though Floyd showed you all that shit is horse shit. Floyd showed you I can Philly shell this. And I can make boring multi fucking millions. I can become almost a billionaire on a boring fucking style. But then he played into the whole other shit. He made like a reality show kind of thing. and I'm the bad guy in the rest because you had to. Because how else are you gonna sell tickets? But besides that, you don't do that. And the one fighter who's an exception from what I'm about to say is Triple G, because they found a way to market this guy. Because you call him Triple G. Listen, Golovkin's not a hard name to say, but it's like Gennady. It's just it's a Russian fucking. He's a Kazakh. His parents are Russian or something. But it's a Russian name, so it's like we can't, it's not going to work. Palashkin is not going to fucking work. You got to be like PPP, like PPP, GGG. And then he did I Like Fight. So they made him they made him marketable. So he played the game. But these other guys you know why these other guys don't play the game? They're too busy fucking learning how to box your head off and dominate you for 12 rounds. Like anybody who watched the sport, anybody who watched any of B-Ball's fights would have known. If you had eyes and you looked, you would have said, yeah, this guy is going to be a fucking problem for Canelo, okay? He's going to be a fucking problem for Canelo. I don't know, some people were saying that. Again, people who had eyes, people who watch the sport, but too many people are like, oh, Canelo's going to be too much. Yeah, he's coming up to fight the guy at 175. And now I'm talking about the guy. There's certain guys, you beat somebody 6'5", 6'6", 7'5", whatever, you edge it. There's certain guys that beat you 12-0, 11-1 on the regular. Dude, then Bivol is one of those fucking guys. Okay, he talk about Joe Smith. He fought Joe Smith, fucking Sullivan Barrera, and he fought the other guy. Jean Pascal. And you can say these guys are they're not like, they were never like the fucking number one boogeyman of the division, but these are belt holders, they're contenders. Sullivan Barrera beat Joe Smith, all this kind of shit. Jean Pascal fucking beat Marcus Brown. He fucking beat didn't he beat the guy Jack Baru? He beat these guys beat. Listen, the fact that you beat the three of them is maybe not like impressive. The fact that the three of them combined won 2-3 rounds out of 36? What does this guy do wrong? He doesn't do things wrong. He doesn't but he doesn't take risks. Yeah, that's the fucking point. He doesn't take risks. Did you see him yesterday? He pummeled him into the ropes, and Canelo thinks this guy's a moron. He goes, yeah. And he's like, okay, yeah. He's like, no, why don't you come here? What do you think? I'm fucking stupid? My whole game plan is get in, get out. That's the name of the sport. And that's what he did. I was surprised how giddy I got. I didn't know if I was. I think it's largely giddy because I knew, because I was right, because I made the right call. If I didn't call it, maybe I wouldn't enjoy it. But I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it. And we're all about ambition here. We're all like, we're trying to start the Desi Empire. We're going as high as we can fucking go. We said empires is the way the world runs. And I'm sitting here saying, oh, I want to be mayor. I want to be this. And it's like, okay, yeah, we can still do the mayor thing. We can still be all these things. We can still have Desi's Russia removal. Okay, we can still be Desi the artiste and sell little pieces here and there. I finished the Dino Boys piece. I'm going to do a separate thing. I'm not going to talk about it here because I already talked about it. But it's done. Now Dino Boys is done. We got 3 pieces. We're 3 out of 3. And like I said, someone better fucking buy this. Okay, and like I said, it's going to reflect better on you when we get to the Desi Empire. And you won't go in the Desi Gulag, or at least maybe if you're about to go in the Desi Gulag, I'll either lessen your sentence, or I will, or maybe I'll actually even just let you pass. Okay, but what I was saying is we can do all these things, but it has to add up to something. We had the Des Conglomerate, but even then, like the Des Conglomerate, okay, you make a fuck ton of money. What do you do? What do you do with the money? Like, what is money? Money is power, okay? But then a lot of these people, they just spend money. They move to Florida and they play golf. I'd rather be shot dead. You know what I mean? I'd rather be shot dead. I was talking about this before. Like, people need to know the thing, the difference between, like, what do they call it? This is gonna, ready for this? They need to learn the difference between correlation and causation. Correlation and fucking causation. That's the number one. That should be your first lesson in school. Fuck all this geometry, geology, all of it. Save the rocks for later. Save the shapes for later. You need to know this. Okay? What's the difference between correlation and fucking causation? Did this cause that? Or are they just in the same kind of thing? So the reason I'm bringing that up, because I'm talking about golf. Golf is a great example. Okay? Golf, if you had a chart how much somebody plays golf from like 0 to a lot, and then like how much of a fucking cunt that person is, like on a scale of 0 to 10, it's called a correlation. So the more you go along that fucking chart, if they're playing golf all day, every day, they're cunts. Okay, that is I don't give a fuck if it's like Tiger Woods or whoever. It's like Canelo plays golf every day. Yeah, that was part of the sign that he's deep inside, he's a cunt. Okay, golf is a cunt sport. Now, does it turn you into a cunt, or are you a cunt already? And then golf is like does being a cunt cause you to play golf? Does playing golf cause you to be a cunt? Is inconclusive. We need to do this. Will be one of the foremost the foremost fucking experiments, research things in the Desi Empire. We will look for the scientists to find these numbers, and I'm not going to cook them. I just genuinely want the truth. I'll be able to find if there's a causation. What is this thing? Why am I getting distracted? What is this? Oh, it's this. I'm a fucking idiot. I lost my fucking train of thought. Anyway, correlation and causation. It's not necessarily causation. It might be causation, but it's definitely correlated. You know what I mean? It's definitely fucking tied together. If you are somebody who regularly plays golf, the more of a cunt you are, the more likely you to play golf. The more you play golf, the more likely you are to be just as a cunt. So that's correlation versus causation. And then but so going back to the other point I was saying. Is I am a cunt. I am a cunt, but I'm a different flavor of cunt. I'm a cunt because it's Desi. She's being a piece of shit. I'm a piece of shit. I'm a piece of shit more than I am a cunt. All these kind of words kind of mean the same thing, and I'm not going to sit here and fight you if you say, "But you are a cunt." Yeah, sure, that's great, that's fine. I'm assuming you mean a piece of shit. I like to be a bit more fucking nuanced here. I like to separate the categories. But I'm definitely a piece of shit. 100% a piece of shit. 100%. I don't fancy myself as much of a cunt. All right, so I will not be using the bazillion dollars that I make off the Desi conglomerate to go and then retire under a fucking on a beach chair underneath a fucking an umbrella. Even though I've said in the past, I've said this is kind of my plan. It's not my plan. What do I want with the money? I want fucking power. Okay, I want a throne. I just saw a photo of this guy, because they said the Central. I saw what it says to the Central African shit, Central African Republic. Okay, the one right next to our buddies in Chad. All right, now next door, right, and they just adopted fucking thing, Bitcoin going on there. Now they're like that was second or third country to say, hey, Bitcoin, because why the fuck not? You got nothing to lose. Like you are dead last. I think they are fucking dead last. Any sort of chart, and I'm not talking about like the bullshit like North Korean ones where it's like the happiness chart where it's like North Korea is obviously number one and China's number two and everybody else is always like USA's last. They're maybe not far away. I was about to say they're not far off with the USA being last, but that's just not the truth. Listen, if you don't have shoes, if you don't have legs because you walk down the street in your country and it got blown up, maybe partially could be in a country that happened because of the United States. So maybe that's how the whole thing goes full circle. But maybe it's not the last. That's a bit stupid. But we'll have ratings like that too in the Desi Empire. And Desi Empire is going to be number one. We are going to do propaganda so fucking well. It's going to be so, and again, if you rate anything above the Desi Empire, okay, I don't give a fuck if it's China, United States, England, Venezuela, whatever the fuck, you put that above Desi Empire, you put Poland, Ireland, New York, okay, those are the three, that's in the top five. You put any of those above the Desi Empire, you're going right into the fucking gulag. Or you might even be getting shot straight to Mars, okay? But the reason I'm saying all this, okay, so that's top of the list. The bottom of the list, like I said, right now, any sort of graph or chart anywhere is the fucking Central African Republic. Okay, so that means that the way that this whole system has worked, okay, because they got their independence because they were colonized and all this shit, and they said, hey, we're taking over. And then obviously, they didn't just give it to them and say, hey, this is good for you. It's like, okay, we're going to give it to you. We're going to keep fucking draining all your resources. What do you got? What do you got for us? Because we're trying to make Xboxes, okay? What can you give us that we can make this fucking Xbox, okay? Because we got kids who are just fucking sugar, having fucking episodes seizures. They're having fucking seizures because they just hopped up on whatever the fuck food coloring or corn syrup you have. They just and then I can't say no to them. This is what the parents say. The answer is to say fucking no to them. You say, hey, you're not getting this shit. We have blank at home. Whatever it is. We Xbox. You want an Xbox? We have Xbox at home. And then just show them a fucking wooden horse and say, this is how they did it for hundreds of years. Get over it. Okay? And fucking sit in this room and calm yourself down. Okay? And then sit and reflect and look out a fucking window on your horse. If we did that, we'd just be so much farther along as a society. Because then a kid, instead of being in fucking therapy at 42, figuring out why is this and why does none of this shit make me happy, he will have figured that out by the age of 8 because he will have had the time instead of being in some fucking alternate universe playing with Zelda or whatever the fuck one of these kind of characters, Donkey, whatever the fuck. He will have thought about life. Okay, he will have looked at a bird and said, "Well, what is a bird? And what constitutes a bird? This is the kind of shit like a correlation, causation, and then that should be school." Okay, this should be school, okay? You go to social school for a couple of things. You go for the social thing, but up to a certain age, because then when you're in high school, you do the social thing. It becomes groupthink, and it's like everybody's just like it's like a pack of wolves, and then you're just doing things because the other wolves are doing it, and then like you know if you're smart, then it's like you're being a fag, and it's all this kind of shit. Like, hey, well, I'm dumb. Hey, you see what I get on my test is a C, huh? And it's like a competition who could be just more of a fucking degenerate, coming from a degenerate, right? So that becomes the whole thing. It's like and it's all because I'm too scared. Because I'm too scared to stand my ground. Again, all this shit, if you would have spent the time on a horse when you were 8, maybe you could have solved this beforehand and you would have been like, that's all fucking whack. I'm going to go to the library. You can call me whatever you fucking want. I'm going to learn about it. Fuck the library. I'm going on Wikipedia. Do it Desi style. I'll spend 7 hours a day on Wikipedia and I will find the answer that way. But I'm on a different path. We need to have more people fucking saying that. We need more one-man wolf packs. Okay, and that's not happening to. I would abolish high school. High school is being abolished in the Desi Empire. It doesn't do anything. What does high school do? What does high school do? Okay, get a fuck like that's tell you like here's the thing. All these bullshit jobs you end up working in your fucking 20s and shit because you're like, hey, this shit's supposed to be going forward, but it's not stagnant. Like I said, I'm still cleaning out popcorn machines and shit. Like when I'm 20, whatever the fuck, right? That's the shit you should be doing when you're 12, 13, 14, all day. Okay, and then apprentices, all that kind of stuff. If you want to be a scientist, go right to fucking college and then just do it there. You're 14, you're 15, you're 16. Listen, you're of age to be able to do that shit, okay? Otherwise, you're just wasting fucking time. And you're getting high all the time, you're getting drunk, and it's like, high school is a big waste of time. But this is the point of the school before, like I said, social shit up until then. I think there's so that dynamic happens when you're younger too, but it gets to way ridiculous in high school, right? But then you do the athletes and all this. There's all the bullshit that why high school still needs to happen. And you need to have it for, if you're a public high school, you need to have a place where Coca-Cola can sponsor whatever the fuck to this vending machines. Blah, blah, blah. It's all a business. And have them, basically squashed into form so that we send them off and package them through this fucking college thing, which is a racket and a half. Desi University is happening. If there's Trump University, there's all these kind of universities, we're definitely doing fucking Desi University. And there's gonna be one of the tenets of Desi University is gonna be an extension of the Desi. We'll be like the Montessori shit, except that shit failed, right? Is that how, I don't know what the metrics would be to know whether that shit worked or not. Regardless, we're gonna do the Desi University, Desi school, the Desi school system. And so you'll be there for the social element. That's like the things you can figure out. Hey, you like peanut butter? I like peanut butter. Yeah. Hey, I like that. I like the Mets. You like the Yankees? Oh well. Hey, that girl over there. I want to write her a Valentine. Hey, all this kind of stuff. You learn about things. You learn about things. Is that the real kind of things? Like, and then you learn your first curse words. For me, it was like when I was 6. I remember going. It was a summer camp. And it was like, I'm in Catholic school. We're doing a fucking chicken dance, okay? And it's thinking, oh gosh, oh golly, the Lord is my light and my salvation. And then going to fucking summer camp, it was not Catholic. And very quickly did I learn that it's okay. It was like we're in a new ballpark because I'm over there going, oh gosh, oh golly, chicken dance. And this kid's telling me about motherfucker. This kid's telling me what the middle finger means. This kid's he's making booby jokes every single fucking day. He's putting his hands in behind his shirt and going boobies, banging on the fucking table. I'm like, okay, now we're in a different fucking, And then next summer you learn what the fuck, you learn what a period is, and then all this kind of stuff. Okay, so and these are the kind of lessons I'm talking about. This is like it's like a marketplace of information. Whose dad's? It takes one dad. Okay, you could have earmuffs on your kid. You have 20 kids who all have 19 of them have earmuffs. This is the one kid whose dad doesn't give a shit. And if I had a kid, maybe this would be me. And the kid's 7, 8, and you give him the Birds and the Bees, and you give plus the Birds and the Bees deluxe edition, okay? And you give them the rundown on everything, and you give them the fucking encyclopedia and the thesaurus of words, okay? And now they got a fucking arsenal. Or maybe you just let it slip because you're an abusive piece of shit to your wife or whatever, and the kid hears it and sees it, and now he realizes it, and now that's 17 minds. This is a game of like telephone. It's like a virus that spreads, okay? So this is how things work. This is like, but it's like a knowledge marketplace. So it doesn't matter if you're Sally Do Right or whatever the fuck. You are going to figure this shit out, and that's one of the things that's good. It's good. You do these things. You should not be learning about these things when it's too late. Okay, you gotta learn about these things early on. You need to be able to handle it and process it and be able to realize, listen, I need to be able to sustain my fucking sanity and thing and hold myself together, even though I know there's knowledge that is, is telling me that the world is not as nice as you think it is. And you can say, yeah, actually it is, even though we have to contend with X, Y, and Z. But not saying, oh, the world is nice because I didn't know X, Y, and Z existed. And finding out X, Y, Z existed, it's like, oh, and then you just do a 180. Now you're just a pessimistic piece of shit. Which, I guess I fall in that category to a lot of people, but I don't want to, okay? I'm on a long way. I'm just trying to close that fucking point out. Social element, that's really one of the things school is for. The other thing school is for, like I said, correlation, causation. That's it, okay? Like I said, math, you want to be a mathematician, learn math fucking later. Okay, learn math later. You have calculators is a thing. Okay, Spanish, you learning French, all this kind of shit. You have it on Google Translate, and you just had the phone and thing, and it's all translated now. Okay, so it's great. It'd be great if you did, but great like watch your fucking Barney in Spanish when you're a kid. Maybe that's one of the other things too. When they're young enough, when their brain's like a sponge, you just put it in a certain language, and maybe you randomly assign the languages too. Because I guess Spanish has a function. If you're teaching kid French, all these there's a lot of languages that get taught. It's like, what's in the United States of America, what's the fucking point? Maybe if you live up in Maine or some shit, like Stephen King land, there's a bunch of people I know running around there speaking French. Along the fucking French Canada, the Quebec border. The border with Quebec. I don't know what fucking accent that was. The border with Quebec. Maybe you need it. But then other than that, is beyond Spanish, maybe in New York City, in New York City it's all languages, okay? So there's no reason, French is like way the fuck down the list. So maybe you do like a Haitian patois or some shit. What do they call it? Haitian Creole? Or you do, what's the one, our buddy, the weekend, what is he? Amharic? Whatever the fuck you pronounce that. Maybe you pick a language and subject that class to a Barney in that language for the whole fucking year. And then that person, then that person fucking 20 years down the line is going to be in a nightclub doing some ratchet shit. And then they meet this person from fucking Suriname. Okay, fucking Suriname. Where if I'm not mistaken, they speak Dutch. Okay, and like I said, Dutch is far down the list of things you would speak in New York, but maybe that was one of the languages. We're going to pull out like a lottery thing. It's going to be like a lottery thing of balls with the different languages on the planet, and maybe you pull out the Dutch one. So maybe that's the language you got, and for the reason it's strong. Okay, so you're not doing it to appease the Dutch people. You're doing it to appease the people from in the event you meet somebody from Suriname. You do it at a nightclub and you start speaking to them in this language you didn't even know was in your fucking head. Why? Because you watched Surinamese Barney. You watched fucking Surinamese Barney when you were fucking 7 for a year. And it's tattooed in there because we knew your brain was a sponge at that time, and we operated, we pushed it in there at the right time. So you thank me then. It's like, you're welcome, because I got you set up with your Surinamese partner. And there's these opportunities that we're banking on. It's like body shots in a box. We're banking on the later rounds here. You're like, why does this matter now? You'll see. It'll pay dividends later. So shit like that. It's correlation, causation, random Barney video in a different language. And then the wooden horse. Everyone's going to have a wooden horse. They build themselves. They got to build this shit themselves. We'll give you the instructions. This is going to be like IKEA style. Okay? I'm not expecting you to just look at a fucking a stump, like a tree stump, and say, hey, do it or fail. That's like too North Korea kind of shit. We'll give you the instructions. This ain't like, what was that guy, Bean Dad? When she's the Bean Dad was a whole meme. Was like the dad just like, hey, figure out how to open up a fucking can. You need guidance. You need somebody to, like, I get, the trial and error, like I'm talking about food, the trial and error with the piece of block. These are kids. You give them the whole thing. Now, the second time around, you don't. You say, listen, you should remember from last time. Maybe if you're in desperate need, we'll show you the instructions again. But you make yourself a wooden horse, and then you sit there and rock back and forth. And I don't know if this is going to be feasible, but everybody gets their own room, because then you just rock it back and forth together. I was like, no. We're talking about, like, this is solitary. You need to be alone with your soul and looking out a window. And look, at that time in your life, you're not having problems. Okay, so it's not like if you did it now and you're in your 20s, it's like you're subjecting yourself to 3 hours of torture, because every fucking rotten thought and every rotten memory, you're like, oh, I did that when I was fucking 12. Oh, that was embarrassing. Hey, you remember that time you blew snot out your nose when you were looking at that girl? You're like, yeah. That was not a good move. And then remember the shit you said, and then it becomes one of those. And then it becomes, hey, you remember the bills you have to pay? All these kind of stupid shit. This is before that. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like you're what's wrong in your life is that this Power Ranger, didn't blow up the monster yesterday. It was that Power Ranger, and now you're in a conundrum because you don't know which Power Ranger is your favorite. Is Power Ranger still a thing? I don't even give a shit. They should. If it's not, they should bring it back. We'll bring it back in the Desi Gulag. It will be Desi presents Power Rangers. And you know, it could be even before that. Could be one of our pats too. I will buy the power. We'll launch one of these DAOs, okay? Because DAOs is the thing now. They did the DAO to buy the Constitution. We're gonna do a DAO to buy Power Rangers or one of these kind of things. And it's gonna be, but we're gonna put in big fucking letters. The Power Rangers is gonna be in tiny letters on the bottom, but you'll be able to see the Power Rangers. You know what it is. But on top is gonna be Des presents, okay? The Des conglomerate presents Power Rangers, and we'll do a Disney or a Fox, because that's what all these companies are doing. There's two companies that the record company and also the TV thing, and they make all the movies, and it's condensing. And soon enough, it's going to be one company, and then it's going to be bought by Amazon. So we need to get in on that. We just need to start, instead of just creating shit, which we're going to do anyway. We're going to Desi Artiste mode. We're going to have all these business ideas. We need to just start buying shit too. You know, just buying shit. We'll find undervalued brands. You know, brands that have a thing that is falling off. You know, like what's the story with Arthur? Well, how's Arthur looking now? I think that's the government too. So, you know, you can always kind of like extort the government a bit, get a nice fat contract for yourself, and then say this and then that. And now in this government, you say, hey, we're employing this people and that people and this whatever. And you're not employing anybody, but you just say that you are on the form, and then get this and that, and then all, you know, whatever it is you got to do, you pull some strings, and you're going to get 90 times the amount of money that you asked for. Just give them what they want to hear, okay? Give them what they want to fucking hear. These are not the most intelligent people in the world. If you ever talk to somebody who's in bureaucracy, you're ever on the phone with somebody who like works for the government, it's like, this is not, we're not talking about the best and brightest here, okay? So you just put what they want to hear on the form before they go to lunch for 7 hours, and then, you know, you get your funding, and then you're good to go, okay? You're good to go, okay? And now we're building that thing. Yeah, so you, like I said, you extort. So now it becomes Des presents Arthur. Okay, Des presents Arthur. Des presents Power Rangers. Whatever it is, we're gonna find the diamonds in the rough. We're gonna find the street talk. We talked about street sharks on this thing. We'll do street. We'll go through all these. We'll have a nice little basket for ourselves of Des brands. That we're gonna revive. We're gonna buy and revive because we know that there's something there. It's like when they, you know, like the whole thing with the Twinkie, you know, like, because that's part of what it is too, right? You get all these things with like Twitter, like will pump it out as news, you know, like when the Twinkie ended, that was like the biggest fucking the striptease kind of thing, and they knew what they were doing. They're like, we're ending the Twinkie so that everyone goes, no, the Twinkie end, because we're talking about voids. We're talking about people with no personality, which is everybody in America and everybody in the West, you know. And then it becomes a story of like, you know, like instead of actually like talking about shit you would have thought about on your rocking horse when you were 8, and like, hey, you know, I want, you know, the whole thing about like, you know, the soul and the spirit, and you know, like, is it something, you know, is it possible to have a discussion detached from the divine and all these kind of things? Like I said, I always go back to the God shit in my head, but hey, that's the highest fucking point. The highest point of among people in terms of power is the empire. The highest point in terms of spirituality is God. Is the inevitable point you come back to, right? So instead of having those discussions because we're too afraid, you know, because we never had the time, because we were too busy playing fucking, like I said, donkey, whatever the fuck, or maybe too much time watching Power Rangers, which we're gonna own. So we're gonna own that shit. So we win both ways. So we rot your brain with that shit. We prevent you from things, but then we'll also do this other shit. And we'll say, yeah, you know, instead of having those grand conversations from shit that I would have thought of when I was on my rocking horse, I'm gonna say, oh, the Twinkie, the Twinkie. I'm gonna put that in my bio, and I tweet the Twinkie. Remember the joke we made about the Twinkie? And it's like, nobody cares. Nobody fucking cares. And it'll show up on your Facebook 3 years in the thing and it says, hey, remember when you said this three years ago? And you'll be like, yeah. You're either gonna say, yeah, I did it, which means you did. That's sad. That's like so what? You're gonna put that on your fucking tombstone? He made a Twinkie joke or something. Oh, the other answer is you're not gonna remember it all because it's insignificant, just like you. Just like your soul. But this is what we're dealing with here, okay? So we're gonna have that. We're gonna have like one of those moments. And you know what I realized too with the Twinkie thing is they were just trying to pull in retrospect, it's pretty fucking genius too. Because it's like I said, it's all rackets, it's all scams. But their racket and scam was they were trying to do what Coke did. In what year was that? The whole thing with Coke was that Coke said, well, we're changing up Coke. This is like the 80s or some shit. And they're like, hey, you know, Pepsi's gaining on us, right? Pepsi they just put a bunch more sugar. It's just sweeter. But like I said, everyone's just addicted to sugar. This sugar's crack, okay? So we gotta keep up with that. So we gotta do this new Coke shit. And then the new Coke apparently tastes like shit, right? And its sales went down. All right, but you know what happened in the meantime is like they took away old Coke, so now they're creating a craving for the old Coke, and they bring back they call it classic or some shit, Coca-Cola Classic, and it's back, and they brought it back after 2 years, and its sales fucking skyrocketed. Okay, it was like an accidental mistake that ended up being a genius marketing plan. So that's what these Twinkie people did too. They're like, all right, you know, we feel like Twinkie is finally dipped below where it should be in cultural fucking currency. Okay, there's no culture at all attached to a fucking Twinkie. Twinkie is the death of the word culture. By the time the Twinkie was invented, that was like, okay, now human beings don't need culture, because culture means like what you did 2,000 years ago to survive. You huddle together. You know, like Jews have culture, Irish have culture. You know, Roma, the Gypsy people have culture because they had to band together because otherwise they would die. Okay, because everyone wanted to fucking kill them, or they lived in the conditions where they wouldn't be able to survive. So it's like, yeah, let me tell stories so that I don't fucking go insane. Give me a purpose, a reason why I'm here. We're gonna eat this food in a certain way so we can survive. This is how culture gets passed down. All right, so there's an element of fucking survival in culture, and now people are saying this is the culture, and now pop culture is culture. It's not culture. Okay, it's just sugar. It's all some form of fucking sugar. Okay, it's sugar for your brain, sugar for your ears. It's just like fucking. It's just porn. You know, like there's no, again, all these things come from culture. There was culture somewhere all the way back, and then it just got. It's like processed nacho cheese. Okay, it's the equivalent of that. Okay, there's no fucking culture there. There's the death of culture. Okay, I don't. What was the reason I was saying that? I've totally fucking lost myself. I've lost myself now. That's it. I've gone totally off the rails. There's no culture there. The culture survived. What was I saying just before that? Somebody help. This means that I gotta. Fucking wrap this up pretty fucking soon. What was I saying right before? Okay, Twinkie. Oh, right. Of course. We always find a way. When I stop finding a way, I might have to start retiring. You know, but like, anyway, Twinkie, death of culture. But they were saying Twinkie, pop culture. We'll call it pop culture because pop culture is different. The Twinkie has fallen far from the fucking where there's like a Mendoza line. You know the whole thing about the Mendoza line in baseball. You know the hitting 200. The Twinkie right now is hitting 187. Okay, that's not good. You know, we're used to winning batting titles and shit. We're used to being America's fucking sweetheart and darling. Okay, like America, what is it for? We say rock and roll, Walmart, and Twinkies. Okay, well now Twinkies have fallen off the public consciousness. We need to bring ourselves back. It's like everybody does this whole shit, like the Twix thing, the left Twix, right Twix, all these kind of stupid fucking marketing posts. You know, there's a McDonald's, we're gonna bring the breakfast all day. Again, it's the same kind of shit. It's Labor Day, don't wear anything white after Labor Day. McDonald's breakfast all day. These are all things that nobody fucking thinks about, but they just go blah, 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 because we're just computers and machines, and they program that into you. And now, like again, you have a conversation starter for somebody who is not worth having a conversation for anyway. Because if that's gonna be your topic of conversation, it is like, you know, like we might as well just all just commit mass suicide and do like a lemmings thing, because it's like is that the point of all this shit? That's the point of all this shit, you know. And then at that point, bring on the warfare, because you know what? That's like I said, a lot more exciting. A lot more exciting just fighting the war than to be peaceful and talk about fucking Twinkies and McDonald's all day and not wearing white after Labor Day. Well, when is after Labor Day too? Every day is after Labor Day, technically. You know, like there's what you said during the year. So what? January 1st it resets. Why would it reset January 1st? What's the story there, right? I'm not gonna get bogged down in that. The point being, Twinkies decided we're below the Mendoza line. We need to bring Twinkies back into the public consciousness, okay? So they did it by taking themselves off. They said, imagine a world without Twinkies. Yeah, well now it's here, okay? Twinkies is now a figment of our imagination. It doesn't exist anymore. And like I said, everybody had a fucking panic attack. For what reason, I have no idea. But they did. But so they brought it back, and then his sales went up. Maybe they didn't. I don't know, but that was the point. That was the arc they were fucking expecting. Okay, you know, you deprive people. You do, is that the playbook? You take it away from people. You give it back to them. Okay, so we're kind of banking on something like that with some of these brands we're gonna buy. Okay, these things we're gonna revamp them. And we're going to bring it back, and it's going to be part of the Desi conglomerate of brands, the Arthur, Power Rangers, whatever it is. And that'll be one of the things that we have in our, is part of our Desi education system. All right, that's I have a lot more I want to say, but I wanted to, I think we'll stop there, because I can go on about, the West Ham fucking losing in Europa. I can go on more about Bevo. I don't know how much I ended up saying about Bevo. I don't remember how far I went. Was it marketability? Let me just close out that thing. The better man won the fucking fight. I'm gonna look like a fucking oracle because I put it out there. I look like an oracle, and I only put it out there because people put 4-1 underdog from Bevo. It's like, do you watch the sport or do you not watch the sport? It's that fucking simple. Is that because if you watch the sport, you know that this guy's the better fighter at that weight class, and that's what we're talking about. But that's what I'm saying. So because he's the bigger name. So now like that's gonna factor in. It's like no, who's better? Who's fucking better? It doesn't matter what the names are. Okay, but this is what I'm saying. It's Vegas, and so the names. So if names does matter, it's like I can sit here and be the best friend. I could be this, and I'm just gonna jam you down my fucking throat. It's gonna be Dez is a name that looks good in big giant lights, and it is good for us. Okay, and like I'm saving the last name. What are you, Degenerate, Des for Prey, whatever, Des Degeneraski, whatever the fuck you want to say. It's just gonna be Des. Okay, DES. If you can't remember that, you're fucking stupid. Okay, we're going this as small as we can go. Okay, and that's gonna be everywhere. Like this is my fantasy of the Dez Empire. It's just gonna be the biggest cult of personality you've ever seen. And you know why not? Because like what do you literally what do you have to lose at this point? 2024 is gonna be a fucking disaster. I might run for president. I might actually put. I don't know if I'm legal. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. I'm filling out the form. And then have them disqualify me later because you know what? It's one shot at reality. And like I said, I'm being president to take off the Polish American box. I would have. I can't take off the Irish American. I wouldn't be the first Irish American, but I would be the first Polish American. But I believe I would be the first Polish American. But it's not even. And they would say, "Oh, here's your nuclear codes," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's all great. How can we roll this over into the Desi conglomerate? Okay, I need to make this expressly about me." You know, and you're all gonna come along for the ride because why? Because it's enjoyable. You know, and you might get on my good graces. You might get on my good side, and you'll just get a higher up position in my government because I said I like this guy, and then you could do something stupid and I put you in the gulag. But then it could be temporary, and if you buy some of my art or any some of my products that I'm selling right now, again, I think about these things. I put them down mentally or maybe even physically. I say, hey, bought the piece, go easy on this guy. Okay, don't throw him in the boiling water. Okay, give him another shot. But that's all I got for you right now, because otherwise this is a mess. It's good to touch base, and I was gonna wait until I got scruffy again. It's like, you know what? You need to see different sides of Dez. Dez can be a bit more of a charmer than he lets on. But that's the end of that. Okay, I got shit stuck in my throat. I gotta stop fucking talking.